You've obviously had a couple guys, out at times this spring, and you lost a couple guys last year. So I know a lot of guys are getting a lot of opportunities. But how do you just overall feel about your group right now?
Yeah, I think it's been a really good, productive spring because you got a few guys who maybe haven't done a lot this spring that are proven guys, and then you have guys this spring who need to improve, and they're getting a lot of reps that are invaluable, especially for some of those younger guys. I think like Cam Bates, who's having a really, really good spring camp. He's getting a lot of reps at different spots, and he's building that confidence. You can guys like Chase Penry and Ben Ford, who have been more role guys that are playing more every down, and they're making plays out there and doing their part. So these 15 practices, they've taken full advantage of them. And some of those other guys, maybe whether it's recovering from something or maybe taking a little bit off their legs, so they got a lot of miles on the tires, has been good for them too because they're still getting a lot of good work in other avenues.
You mentioned Bates, man. I forget if it was Tuesday or Thursday. We were out there, and he had 3 or 4 just long, nice catches again. He down to punt at the 2-yard line on special teams. Like, seems like every practice he continues to make more plays. How much did last year's getting his feet wet a little bit help him? And what's kind of the ceiling for a guy like that?
Yeah, I think even for Batesy last fall, he was very much a role guy, limited with the amount of plays he had per game. That's by design. And you give him that confidence of you know exactly what you got this game plan, go execute that at a high level. And he got more as the season progressed, and those game reps are invaluable for a guy like that. And you see him being more confident this spring. My challenge for him was now, hey, we're going to move you around a little bit too, and you got to know the whole system. You can't just know your job. And he's done a really, really nice job of that this spring, and it's showing up him making plays. The guy's got tremendous ball skills. He can blow the top off the defense, and he's been a guy we got to figure out how to affect the game.
Is he your fastest player in the group? You think he says he is on the team, but what are his speed?
I would have without having numbers in front of me, I would say he's probably. I'd be hard pressed to find somebody faster in that room than him. You gotta look at his track times in high school. Big time hurdler in the state of Texas that won a state championship. His dad's a track coach, and so he's got that speed, obviously the genetics piece, but also the coaching and teaching piece of it growing up down there.
How do you replace Cam Camper? He was really productive for you in his only year here. A bigger, taller receiver. How do you replace him?
Yeah, I think it's a tough guy to replace just for all the things that he brought, even off the field. His maturity and going through being a college football player and how to handle your business, and those things are somewhat irreplaceable. But his productivity, that's going to be a group effort. Everybody's got to step up. And I think the guys in that room feel that as an opportunity where, hey, things that maybe that Camper was getting last fall, who's going to get it this fall, right? And it's going to start this spring. Who's going to show up, be competitive, win their one-on-ones? Who's going to be that bigger body receiver who can go down there in situational football and win those routes or win that block? And it's going to carry over the summertime and the fall camp and create that natural competition within the room. And so those guys are excited. Obviously, that's 961 yards of production lost. So where are we going to get it? And those guys, they're excited to go prove that somebody in that room is going to do it.
You've had Chris Marshall in the program for about a year now. How do you bring out the best in Chris Marshall, Matt?
Yeah, it's a day-to-day thing, and I think Chris has grown a lot over his time here, and he's still growing. And that's the challenge for me every day is like, how can I get the best out of Chris today? And it's not just Chris, it's everybody in that room, right? Everybody in this facility. How can you get the best out of that person on that given day, that given moment, that given period of practice? And sometimes you're going to take some losses, right? We're dealing with human beings here. Sometimes we're going to see big gains. Sometimes we'll see slight losses. But at the end of the day, let's have that trajectory of improving. And I think that's what Chris is doing. But we need him to take that next step too. And he knows that, and he's done a nice job this spring. But the challenge here the next couple of months in the summer is like, where's that next step going to happen? Because you need to, for us to go where we need to go to next fall.
How much does having a returning starter quarterback help your group, and maybe give us some examples of maybe where you might be further ahead because of that versus, say, last spring?
Yeah, I think Maddox is the whole catalyst, this thing that a lot of people aren't talking about. A guy that knows our offense, the ins and outs of the offense, has a lot of game reps too of situations that he can talk to guys like, hey, remember this happened against whoever last fall. You got to treat this route or this run similar to that. And when it comes from a peer, it's way more powerful than it ever will come from one of us coaches. And so Maddox taking that leadership role with some of those guys is, you can't put a price tag on it. It's been awesome. And the challenge for Maddox too is that this summer, like, how are you going to continue to lead these guys? Maybe we're not there every single day, right? And how can you take that next step as a football team, as a skill position on offense, and how can we get a little bit better in June and July when everybody else is else is either on vacation or hanging out.
How do you feel overall about the group? I mean, Spencer mentioned obviously experiment kind of with Ty even putting Ty over there a little bit, and then we see you're still linked to like transfer wide receiver recruits too. I mean, are you guys thinking you need another good guy there? Do you feel okay overall about the group?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to go get another guy. I think we're trying to always improve our roster on a day-to-day basis, whether that's guys here or go out and recruit. Some of it is like guys like Ty Benefield, who's in our program already, who is a dang good football player. We obviously seen him play defense at a very high level, and this is something that he can come over to the offense side of the ball too and impact the game. And I think that's something for us. We've always done things different here at Boise State. We've been cutting edge. And I even think about like Avery Williams a couple of years ago where he was getting some running back reps. Right? I think about Tommy Smith back in the 2011, 2012 coming over as a linebacker and playing fullback. Right? I think about Scott Matlock, right, in our Clydesdale package, catching touchdowns as well as blocking. Right? We're going to put the best 11 on the field whenever we can to go be successful. And that's what's fun for us. And it's fun for our guys too. Right, where, hey, you're playing football. You're not just a tight end. You're not just a linebacker. You're not just a DB. You're a football player, and let's go be our best when our best is needed in clutch situations.
You were going to lose Cam. I don't know if you just assumed you'd maybe lose one more in the portal or what, but you obviously lost Prince. I don't know how big of a hit that was. I mean, just overall, the depth of the group, is it tough too with guys out? It's hard to know, where you're at, or overall, I don't want to say the group's underachieved, but I mean, if you're still out looking to find somebody else, are you not seeing what you need to out of these guys? Or?
Yeah, I think the big piece for that is we got 4 freshmen coming in, and getting an older body, more mature body, more mature mind in that room, I think will help us out overall. I don't think it's fair for those 4 freshmen coming in to have all those expectations. And I think there are 4 really talented kids, but they're not here right now, right? And we have some guys who maybe haven't lived up to their expectations in that room, and that competitive spirit brings out the best of everybody, right? And that's something that even talking about bringing another guy in, like that's going to increase Latrell Caples. That will increase Cam Bates and Ben Ford, right? And that competitive nature, we do it together, we do it with each other, we're going to be the best unit we can be, right? It's also going to help the defense out, right? Like that iron sharpens iron mentality. And so, yeah, we're always trying to improve. I'm always trying to improve as a coach. We're always going to try to improve this roster.
When you have somebody that comes over from the defensive side that hasn't sat in the room, maybe doesn't know terminology, I don't know, what's the greatest challenge for somebody to try to play receiver that maybe isn't familiar with all the nuances?
Yeah, obviously, like the terminology is a gap. We spent some time talking about that. But in the day, football's football, right? The terminology might not be what somebody was used to, but like, hey, go run a corner route. Like, they know what a corner route is. Or go run a go route. Right? They kind of got that figured out. Some of the nuances of playing the position, maybe they haven't played it for a while. It's a little bit different. But it's like riding a bike. You kind of get back in the flow of things. And it also helps you go out there and make a play, get that confidence going a little bit. Like that belief thing is huge, right? And so I think that's a big part of like how can we get that confidence installed early in terms of somebody that's playing both ways and give them some early success. And then that confidence piece, that's a hard thing to really contain. Once you get that, let's just go play ball.
When it comes to injuries, I think there's maybe sometimes an assumption that, time heals all wounds. And I mean, you might be somebody that can relate that not all injuries are created equal, if you will, and some linger. What happened to Austin Bull, a few years ago? I mean, that was a pretty devastating injury. And it still feels like, there'll be times where you might feel the effects of that. So as he kind of just continues to ebb and flow his way back to trying to get to as healthy as he can, what's it like for you to kind of help him along that process? Like I said, I mean, you had your own fair share. You could probably identify with some of it.
Yeah, I still feel it every morning when I wake up. And it's not as much fun anymore when I'm playing with my 2.5-year-old and she's, beating me around the kitchen table a little bit. But for a guy like Austin, yeah, that was a pretty traumatic thing he went through a couple of years ago. And he's a tough dude, right? There's no questions about that with all he's had to overcome and fight through with that injury train to get back to where he is. And being able to just be a support system for him and try to find different ways to be creative to make that body feel better. He's got a lot of miles on his tires too, a lot of reps that go unnoticed, whether it's a practice rep over the last 5 years, that it adds up over time. And so don't question his toughness, but find creative ways to keep his body fresh, maybe take a few things off him during a practice time is going to be really important for us. But I think he had a really nice spring too and has improved. And that was a big goal for us this spring with Austin is you got to improve a couple things here, all right, and then let's get your body rested up.
Just with bringing someone else new through the portal, obviously you said someone more experienced, a little older. What else are you looking for? Is it just the best possible, or are you looking for certain type of player?
Yeah, I think obviously best available is a huge piece, but also a guy who's going to be an impactful person in this program. We're not just going to go find a really, really good player. I mean, we're going to go find a really, really good player who's an even better person, who's going to come into our locker room and be an impactful guy in a positive way and not a negative way. And I think sometimes with this portal stuff, like you're just out there shopping a little bit, right? And for us, we're still going to do our homework on them, and we want them to do their homework on us too, to make sure it's a good fit. Because that's a huge piece for us, our culture in that locker room, and we're not gonna sacrifice that whatsoever.
You mentioned just the 900 yards, whatever available, losing Cam, but with a new offensive coordinator and Ashton gone, I know you guys are going to run the football, but it seems like the passing game, could have a little more of a role this year. Is that exciting too for the guys in your room?
Yeah, I think it's exciting for everybody. But at the end of the day, like, what do you got to do to win the game, right? If you got to run the ball 100 times or throw it 100 times, our guys are all in on what do we got to do to go win. And if that means, throwing the ball more, awesome. That means blocking safeties in the run game. Hey, we're going to do what we got to do. And I think that's what's really, really fun coaching these guys is there's low ego, high output, do whatever it takes for us to go win.
We saw the very first spring practice, you guys busted up the double pass. What do you see in terms of, Nate and just you guys as an offensive staff and how things are going to be different or similar?
Yeah, I think having some of that fun there with some trick plays or some funk plays is always good for our guys. Keep defense on their heels a little bit. We'll evolve a little bit, but, our system's been in place here for the last couple of years, and how can we tweak it a little bit? Obviously, play caller mentality is going to be a little bit different than when Nate and Coach Cutter. It'll be a little bit different, and that's okay. The difference is good. Change is good sometimes. But I think the base rules and kind of really you peel back the layers of this offense, the same things are the same in terms of the core, right? Like who we want to be. We want to be a downhill physical run team. We want to stretch the field vertically in the pass game, have elements of surprise, right? Whether it's a trick play, maybe it's a mixing of a tempo. And then we're going to feature guys who can go win us football games in terms of the playmakers. And they got to be their best when their best is needed.
Just going off the offensive coordinator stuff, with you being a co-OC now, how's that been for you? Has it changed things much for you, or is it kind of different perspective, same thing?
No, it's pretty similar day to day. It's been awesome. I mean, me and Nate have worked together for a lot of years. So we kind of have a good rapport with each other, and we can kind of anticipate certain things with each other. And it's been a lot of fun. And I know we're all looking forward as an offensive staff of continue to have fun and continue to grow, continue to get better and impact our guys the best we can on a day-to-day basis. And at the end of the day, they'll give them the confidence to go cut it loose on game day, which is the main goal every week.
I don't know if you've been asked or not, but did you throw your name in that hat, or were you a little disappointed that you didn't get it? Or?
I'm just like these receivers, like, hey, run, pass, whatever it takes to win the game, I'm all in. I'm a Bronco, been here over a decade. Both our kids were born at St. Luke's. Like, I don't care if they give me the janitor role around here. Like, I will do it the best of my ability, right? And I want to impact the people around me. And, yeah, that's my day-to-day. That's my impact, my purpose when I wake up. Whatever role I get, all right, I think you got to be your best, and you got to start in that role. And so I'm excited to support Nate and be the best I can be for him so he can go have success. Because that's hey, we've been friends for a long time, played together, coached together for a long time, but at the end of the day, that's one of the best human beings on this planet. So I want him to have success.
Myself, Johnny's question here. Always very concerned about who's in the box, who's not in the box. You've always been a sideline guy. His roles evolved. Nate was next to Dirk last year. I don't know. Spring game coming up. I don't know if you guys simulate any of that stuff, but what do you kind of envision and why, I suppose?
Yeah, I think I don't want to speak out of line. I know I'll be on the field. I'll be on the field. I've been on the field really all but 1 year of my coaching career, and I started calling plays in the box, and I was no good. So I went down on the field, and I could see a little bit better, had a better feel. And so I'm probably best suited on the field with some of those things. And some of the other spots, obviously, is a work in progress. We'll find out. That's what spring practice is for us coaches, too. We got to figure out the best process for us on a day-to-day basis, and so we can go be our best for our guys on Saturdays in the fall.